where they push the leader out. Usually the leader decides to resign before it gets to that point. But there are ways around the leadership in a way to get someone or in a way to push somebody out. With the president, it's a lot tougher, to the point where, it appears, I'm going to get to some other potential in a second here, but it appears that this really has to be Biden's decision, which means it is left up to somebody who is not in the right mind to decide that they should not be the candidate. Now, New York Magazine did a piece discussing, so Biden recently issued this challenge. Challenge me. Biden bets no one will take his convention dare, because he's unlikely to face the challenge because of how it operates. So as they write here, technically, yes, Biden can be challenged at the convention, even though he overwhelmingly won the primaries. But unlike Republicans, Democrats don't bind delegates via legal sanctions, though 14 states require delegates to follow the primary results unless the candidate releases them. So well over a majority of delegates are theoretically in play. The convention's preliminary rules say a presidential wannabe who can secure the support of at least 300 delegates, not more than 50 from any state, can become an authorized candidate. So far, so good, right? This sounds like, oh, look, they can challenge him at the convention, and there you go. It's all good. But the issue here is timing. This whole discussion is very late in the process. Biden's coronation or replacement would almost certainly have to happen no later than the first week of August, as the DNC is planning a virtual roll call to avoid its nominee being left off the ballot in Ohio, which requires the candidates be named by August 7th. Dates as early as July 21st have been brooded about for the virtual roll call. That hardly leaves enough time for anyone to even imagine a campaign to challenge Biden, much less to wage and win one. So the issue here is, based on how the rules operate, there would have to be somebody who is so popular right now, who is already in the process right now of challenging Joe Biden, who is already ginning up support from delegates who have already been selected, or I should say, have already been decided that they're supposed to be going to Joe Biden. They have to be so convinced that this other candidate is so much better and so clearly the choice. This all has to happen, and there has to be enough of those people. This has to happen by the first week of August. This idea of the party being able to coalesce around somebody else, of course it's possible, but it's very unlikely. This is why this really comes down to powers within the party, and ultimately, Jill Biden, Hunter Biden, Biden's family. They have to be the ones to pressure Biden to withdraw, or it's not going to happen. Here is the next clip.
For a campaign based on honesty and decency, the spin about the debate appears to be blatant bullshit. And the redemption tour hasn't gone that much better, whether it's been on the radio.
Well, I'm proud to be, as I said, the first vice president, first black woman, served with a black president.
None of this was reassuring. And we're told that the threat of Trump is so great and the stakes are so high that even bringing up these absolutely legitimate concerns about the president's ability to do the most vigorous job in the world for the next 4 years is enabling fascism. Yet even the president doesn't seem particularly alarmed.
If you stay in and Trump is elected and everything you're warning about comes to pass, how will you feel in January?
I feel as long as I gave it my all and I did the goodest job as I know I can do. That's what this is about.
That's not what this is about! There are no participation trophies in endgame democracy. Oh, yes. I remember FDR saying, well, if the Nazis take over Europe, at least both teams had fun.
Both of those clips are absolutely insane. So the one about I'm a black woman, I don't even know where to go with that. But that one where during the interview with George Stephanopoulos, I covered that in my discussion about George Stephanopoulos, or that interview. And that is, for putting aside Biden's health and all those problems, just that response alone, the response to what if you lose, and then Biden makes it all about himself, that gives away the game. Even if he feels that way, even if many politicians feel that way because they're doing it for their own ego, this is not something you tell the public. This does not instill any confidence. This does not make people want to vote for you. So that answer is just the absolute worst answer, and it showcases that Biden is not taking this threat as seriously as he needs to, even though he claims at times, and correctly claims, how threatening Donald Trump presidency would be. When you respond to that question by making it about yourself, it shows everybody that this is really about your own ego. Now, after the next clip, I'm going to get deeper into some polls just to show you where things are currently sitting, but I do want to share this before I get to that, because this really is amazing. So Dave Weigel here on Twitter shares Real Clear Politics poll average on this day in prior campaigns. So Biden on this day in 2020 was leading by 9 points. I'll get to where he currently is. Clinton was leading by 4.7, Obama by 2.5, Obama again by 4.2, and Kerry by 2. Of course, Kerry and Clinton both lost their races. The Obama polling, I think, was a little more accurate during that time. But in terms of at least Clinton, Biden, these polls overestimated Democratic support. So Biden ended up winning in 2020 by about 3.5, 4 points, about half of where it is right now. Now, again, this is polling on this day. I'm sure polling closer to election day was closer to the result. But still, he was up by 9 at this point in the race. He is currently losing. As Weigel writes here, first time in 24 years that the GOP nominee has led after the July 4th holiday, going into conventions. So I'll get to more accuracy around, or the exact numbers around Biden and Trump and their polling right now. But here is the last clip that I want to share.
I am in no way saying Biden's got to drop out, but can't we stress test this candidacy? Can't we open up the conversation? Do you understand the opportunity here? Do you have any idea how thirsty Americans are for any hint of inspiration or leadership and a release from this choice of a megalomaniac and a suffocating gerontocracy? It is crushing our spirits. Do you have any idea what could be ahead of you?
That right there, I think, is the ultimate point. That people's spirits are crushed, meaning turnout is going to be low because neither of these candidates are popular. Republicans are going to vote anyways. They vote regardless. Democrats win when turnout is high. I've said this maybe 1,200 times, if not more at this point. And it isn't just Democrats. I covered the elections in France. Turnout was high, and they were able to stop the fascists. That only happened because turnout was high. People came out to vote, and they came out to vote because they had people to vote for. Because, to be clear, it's a different system, parliamentary system, but there was a left flank that they felt inspired by. And both the left and the center worked together to vote out the fascists. So this is the biggest issue with Joe Biden. Even forget his health, even forget the idea that can he even last 4 more, forget all of that. The biggest issue is that he is suppressing the vote. You have almost anyone else in there, it's going to be a huge difference. And this is a great example of that. This is a poll out of Wisconsin. It came out today. New AARP poll of Wisconsin, taken after the debate. Trump is up against Biden by 6 points, but Baldwin, the Democratic senator, up by 5 points in her race. Look at that, an 11-point swing between Joe Biden, the presidential candidate, the president, and Tammy Baldwin. This showcases, you stick Kamala Harris there, you put Gretchen Whitmer there, you put J.B. Pritzker there. Replace Biden with any of these names. It's going to be a much different story. Now, I also want to compare, again, that's today. This is back in 2020. Biden was leading at this time. Sorry, this is from September, to be clear. So a few months later, but September 2020, Biden up 50 to 46%. And he ended up barely winning Wisconsin by 0.7%. So again,